old souls, young souls, and all my damn souls in between. Welcome back to another week of Old Soul in the Young World with your host, Jesse Ellie. Hey!
Let's
Guys,
go.
it is popping. It is lit. We have a very special guest on the show this week, a multimedia artist, somebody who has lived in this country, outside of this country, and a little bit of everywhere, done a little bit of everything, is in the NFT game, and so much more. Welcome to the show, Haiki. What's poppin'?
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
Such a beautiful place here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're so happy to have you on Old Soul Young World. And one of the main reasons that we did want to have you on Old Soul Young World is because you do so many things and you wear so many hats. And being an artist, I feel like sometimes people think, oh, like, what's your genre? What do you do? And it's like, hey, sometimes you do a whole lot of shit. Can you let people know kind of where you're from and how you started getting into art?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, so I grew up in the Philippines. I was born in Taipei. I spent most of my life growing up in Asia and then moving here to Boston for college. I actually went to Bentley University and spent like 5 years there.
Oh,
yeah,
that's huge.
So I went to business school, and I think that's really where I found out that, yeah, cool, I can study, I can finish school, I can keep up with all the courses, but it wasn't my passion.
Yeah.
Somewhere deep down, I really wanted to pursue art and music. Growing up, my mom actually was my first like music teacher, instructor, whatever you want to call it. She was really strict with me. She was, all right, this is time for piano lessons.
Was she like slapping you on the hands with a ruler type strict?
I'm sorry, Mom.
You're like, oh wait, I can't talk about that.
No, my mom was supportive.
Yeah.
Just like all parents, it's sometimes you have to play the bad guy.
Of course.
For your kids, for them to grow. And, at the end of the day, like after 19 years, I'm like, well, I'm really thankful my mom did that for me because not many parents want to do that. But, the fact that my mom went out of her way to almost be like the bad guy at that time.
Right.
To make sure that I learned how to play keys at an early age, that was amazing. And being in Boston and studying at Bentley, I spent a lot of time at Berkeley. Like Berkeley's just like right there. So I was like, well, after class, I'm going to drive to the city, Mass Ave.
Yeah.
Go to that Guitar Center and hang out.
So you would go to school at Bentley and then you would drive to Berkeley to just fuck around with music stuff?
Yo, yes, yes.
That's dope.
I would purposely go to the Guitar Center in front of Bodega.
Wow, okay.
Because I knew that every music kid from Berkeley will be buying stuff at that Guitar Center.
It's so true.
And parking was so easy around that street, like after 8 p.m. So I was like spending a lot of my time there, hanging out at that Guitar Center. And I met a lot of like great music engineers, artists, musicians in that Guitar Center. And they're all in LA. And then after college, I went straight, did my master's at the same school. And I moved out to LA to pursue music, and then the pandemic hit,
It's so funny because on one of the last shows that I record, we said that. It's always like, I did this, and then it's like, dun, 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 the pandemic hit. And then you kind of have to realign yourself and figure out like, okay, as an artist, now where do I go from here? But I do just want to touch upon and give you a shout out because coming from, another country to America, bringing your art here, expanding it here and opening yourself to like a new culture of artists and people and everything, that's huge. And it must have been like a really big transition for you, not even just like culturally, but also just like adjusting yourself to like what you want to do with your goals. And like you said, you came here for business. So it's like when you get into art, that's a whole nother realm, a whole nother industry, I should say. Did you have like, besides piano, another art form that you were also involved in at the time? Or when you came to the US, were you strictly doing music?
I mean, when I first came here, I was really, I love basketball actually. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, I love basketball.
Switch it up on me.
I love hooping. In high school, I was never given the opportunity like other players to really develop. I would say I spent most of my career on the bench.
Okay.
And so like when I came here, I was like, wow, okay, everybody's way better at basketball here. Let me work out excessively. Let me get faster, stronger, and just hoop.
Yeah.
And I was really trying to like play with whoever I could. at school. And sophomore year, that's when I tore everything on this knee.
Oh my gosh.
And I will tell you, that was probably this knee breaking on me and giving up on me was probably the best thing that ever happened to me in my life.
I'm sorry. Can we just take a quick pause? I just want to reiterate that to the audience. He just said him breaking his knee and tearing all of his ligaments was the best thing that ever happened to him in his life, which says to me that negative things can happen and it depends on how you take it of what the outcome is after. Sometimes it's a sign that maybe you have to go another direction. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was really not built for basketball, obviously. But
it's like if you're not going to stop, the universe is going to stop you.
and when you get hurt like that, you're going through like 6 to 8 months, almost a year of recovery just to run normally. Yeah. I can't do everything that I wanted to do to begin with. So I was in a cast for like a long time, and I was like, well, I can't physically move. It literally hurts to even get in the shower.
Yeah.
What now? I'm still doing school. I can do it, but like there's this like 3 to 4 hours a day that I used to spend working out, playing basketball that's now free. And I was like, wow, I can't move. So I downloaded this thing called Ableton. Mm-hmm. I was inspired by people like Steve Aoki, who was like making music, traveling the world. And that's my first year of really diving back into music production. Because I used to DJ parties in college. I was that super quiet Asian kid that, every person who's like, oh, I'm not a party person. No, that's not true. You want to be at a party. You want to be around people. You just maybe don't feel comfortable being around that much people at a time. So I found myself being able to be at the party without talking that much by being the DJ.
Okay, that's dope.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, well, I can't get into any of these parties. What if I play music for everybody and just shut up and be in the corner? Which is great. I love being around the energy, but not being in it.
See, I feel like I would like that too, because I'm like an introverted extrovert. Like I'm like when we're on camera, I'll be very outgoing and stuff. But like if you put me in a room full of people at a party, I'm pretty much a wallflower. Like I'll be chilling. So like I actually, when I was younger, do you know Chantel Jeffries? I think it's her. Yeah, she's a female DJ. So like I've always looked up to her. She'd be traveling like Ibiza, Maldives, like all these places, just like legit going DJing, bouncing, being out, or having a VIP table, being out. Like you don't have to be immersed in all the hectic, like chaoticness of the crowd. So,
and I think that's great, but at some point, getting a pulse of understanding like the people in the room is really important as well. So I think DJing, for me, like I don't like talking over people or like the volume. I won't raise my voice. Yeah. So I really didn't like socializing at a very loud area.
I got you.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to play music and everybody's have a good time and we'll all go home, whatever. Yeah. So I did that like basically all throughout college, and I played a couple venues here in Boston, like Royale, Whiskey Saigon when it was around. Opened for a few people, met a lot of very talented people. Like I've met Morton, who's like
I was gonna bring that up. I saw it on your IG.
Yeah, like when I first met Morton, I was like, wow, this guy he has a remix with Avicii. Yeah.
That's like legendary.
At that time, like I was like, all right, he's coming to town. I was maybe like I was 20. I was like, whatever I can do.
Damn, you was underage too? Look at you badass.
20, like, 21, don't tell anybody. Somewhere there. But I was like, all right, this guy's coming to town in Boston. I need to talk to the club promoter and do anything I can so I could open for him. And I ended up opening for him like I think 5-6 times that year.
Wow.
And I remember the first conversation with him. I was like, dude, like, how did you even end up like having a collaboration with like Steve Aoki, being a foreigner and traveling all over the US? And at that time, I thought he was already like he blew up, right?
Yeah.
This year, he really blew up.
Right.
I'm not sure if you've been like keeping up with his stuff, but
yeah, he definitely has.
Yeah, dude, I'm so happy for him, dude. Like seeing him grow after growing that much, and then just it comes to show that consistency. I mean, this guy's been in the game for a long time, and so
exactly. And like you said, when you met him, like you thought, oh, he's at the top already. He's at his best of his best. It literally says all. Like, we can only keep trying and being consistent with our craft and with our art form, because when it gets to the level where we think we're at the top, we're still at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And you have to keep going and remain consistent. So when you finally hit that level where you're like, okay, I know I'm finally here, you deserve it and you can appreciate it at that time, you know? So that's pretty fire.
Yeah, so that's kind of like how I got situated in like the music scene here in Boston. And then I moved to LA and I applied for this school called Icon Collective.
Okay, I never heard of it.
Icon Collective is like a predominantly electronic producing school.
Okay.
Most electronic producers go there because big names like Slander, Nightmare, they've all been there before. And I talked to more and I was like, oh, like, I really want to pursue music. Maybe Icon Collective is a good switch up from this business scene. Mm-hmm. And I went there and I think I was really shook by like the talent that's out there in LA. And I met like 2 other people within the time that I was there, like sessioning. I met Sam and I met Easily, and they're both my bandmates now.
Hey, shout out.
Yeah. We're an electronic trio called Torsades. So if you guys see it right here, we make very cinematic music and pretty much electronic.
And now, can I say that? That's Torsades, Torsades, starting with the T.
Yeah, it's actually like a medical term that means like twisting of the points.
Wow.
And so it's like, it has something to do with your heartbeat. Easily, who is like 1/3 of the group, is actually ER. Mm-hmm. So this project was actually formed during COVID.
Wow.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time together in COVID. You know, you didn't want to see that many people because of, you know, quarantine. And Easy was working at the ER, and he'd come home and he'd just like talk to us and be like, yo, I just like bagged this amount of bodies today. And
oh my gosh.
they're like 25-year-olds, 22-year-olds, and 60, 50, whatever. And you realize that for some people, like, music is a real outlet. It is an outlet for me, don't get me wrong, but like, for me, I think it's an emotional outlet. How I feel, like, I translate into music. I try to write lyrics that allow me to, like, I guess it's almost like my therapist. But for other people, it's really to process what they've seen at work, you know?
Exactly. Or in their childhood or like past traumas. Yeah. But it is definitely an outlet. And I feel like art in general, and anyone listening in who's an artist, whatever it may be, whether it's digital art, literally crafting something with your hands, or you're a mathematician, you know what I mean? Those are all forms of art. We all use things in different ways to express ourselves. So it's pretty dope that you can have multiple outlets of doing that. Like, if it's not piano, you can fuck around with some DJ stuff. If it's not that, you can pick up a paintbrush, and it's like learning what works best for you, you know? And so I do, if you don't mind, I just want to bring back for a quick second. 'Cause like, based on art in Boston, in New York, and LA, so the places you've been in the US, compared to like the art scene in the Philippines, how would you compare those, if you could compare them at all?
I guess the art scene in the Philippines, like, as a kid, we went to museums to see like very, very massive and historical paintings. One painting being the Spolarium, which is like a massive painting. And I think for me, the art scene in the Philippines, I wish I was in it more, but because I moved when I was around 18, I wasn't able to really be in the scene. Right. But based off of like my friends being in the Philippines, the art scene almost is directly related to what the US is consuming.
Interesting.
Just like a little bit dated, a little bit older, is catching up, you know?
Yeah.
So just like any art and collectible scene in the Philippines, it's like, it's really based off of what's popping in New York and LA.
Okay.
And then it's brought back to the Philippines.
And they like remix it into their own type.
Yeah. There's this one collector that I follow. His name's I think it's DJ Big Boy or something.
Okay.
His collection is insane. And I was shocked because I was like, whoa, this guy like has his collection like 2 blocks away from where I live back home.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I never went to see his collection as a kid. And now like that's one of the things that I want to look forward to is when I do go back to the Philippines, I want to go see his collection because I feel like he actually knows what the art scene's like.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's kind of like a 360. Like when you learn about someone, they're literally from your hometown and you admire their work. Like that's wild. And, you know, so off of being a pianist and in the DJ scene, your inspiration through like DJing and music, like what is your genre of music? What do you like? What do you like to listen to outside of like creating your own?
My biggest musical inspirations are definitely include, I would say some of the melodies that I listened to as a kid when my mom's just playing keys at home.
Yeah.
It's probably like, I can still hear myself like play them or like try to emulate them because my mom just plays keys whenever she wants at home. The piano's in the living room. It's like a baby grand piano, and she would just go at it. I've sent videos of my mom playing keys to Morton, and Morton was like, "Whoa!" And I mean, my mom's a really good pianist. I wish I was even like 20% as good as her. But the artists that I listen to today include Michael Jackson.
Hey,
I listen to a lot of Michael Jackson. I listen to Zoo. I listen to The Weeknd. I listen to Disclosure.
Okay.
Black Coffee and Camel Fat. So it's like a little bit all over the place.
I'm not familiar with the last three. Is that like techno-ish?
More house.
House, okay. Yeah. And house is becoming real big. I mean, shouting out the new Drake album that just dropped and everyone's going crazy, losing their minds because it's no longer hip-hop rap. It is now house music and Beyonce. So I don't know.
I have my own reservations about the whole album.
Speak on them.
I think when somebody like Drake tries to tackle on a genre like this, I think it's amazing because like, whoa, you're actually putting light on a genre that low-key is not like, it's not on the pop scene.
Right.
It is, but it isn't. But the way he like just casually dropped it.
No
dude.
big deal.
I wish he like gave the world a little bit of heads up.
Give us like a single at least a couple months in advance. Let us prepare.
Yeah, because he's a big icon, you know? And him taking on this genre is amazing. I personally wish that he maybe featured some house producers that were more in the scene already, or like could maybe give him a better take on the sound that's sought after in that scene. But again, he can do whatever he wants to do. That's just how I feel when I heard it. I was like, whoa, if he just asked this producer to like maybe collaborate with him on his track, it would have been. And so like as an electronic trio, I want to touch on like Sam, which is the other member of my group. Sam is from Taiwan actually, and he's won multiple awards in Taiwan for his production.
Oh.
And he was like, yo, the new Drake album, like, I'm so happy that he did house or like electronic inspired. But I want to do it like kind of like our style. So actually after this podcast, we're about to hop on a session to maybe remix some of the...
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Like heard it here first on Also Young World.
We're going to...
Oh, shit.
We're going to remix some of his records and give it our own spin and our own take. Based off of the inspirations that we listen to and the sound that we follow. And, you know, I'm really excited to give it a shot because somebody like Drake rapping or singing or even working on a record like this is going to change, I guess, the trajectory of that sound.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm excited.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, you know, bringing back that art form, bringing it back to the forefront where people can maybe like you guys, like different artists remixing it and recreating it. And I said this multiple times in my show, but the United States really is a remix culture from like people in today's age are taking music from the 70s and sampling it to make new rap and hip hop beats. And we can do the exact same thing with house music, with art, with NFTs, anything like that. So
I forget who told me this, but actually I think it was Sam. So Sam, if you're the one who told me this, I'm sorry. I'm putting you on the spot.
Shout out you, Sam.
No, like I want people to know the band that I'm working with, you know, and the whole group as a whole. So Sam actually was like, yo, Johnny, you realize that a human can't sing a melody he or she's never heard before?
Wow.
Like, can you sing something you've never heard before? I personally think no.
I never even thought about that, but like, no, I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, and so like you saying like America's like a whole remix culture, like that's everything. You know, there's always inspiration. I think that's like what I'm trying to say is like, you're always inspired by something, and there always will be a reference as to what art you're creating.
Yeah.
So for every painting that I have references. Like
Right.
I look at things and change things as I go to make it my own.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's always going to be an inspiration. There's always going to be that melody that you've heard before.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're just remixing it to make it original.
Right. And that actually, you know, kind of leads me into my next topic of your many hats that you wear. But modeling and fashion as well is a huge culture of, you know, bringing back or pushing forward and bringing in different looks and ages, making it timeless. How did you and when did you get involved in the modeling industry? Whether it was in the Philippines or when you came here, and like, where has it gone from there?
I was shopping in Rhode Island.
You were shopping in Rhode Island?
I was with a
This
broken
dude got
leg.
picked up off the street with a broken leg?
Yeah.
What the hell, Haiki?
I remember.
I can't even get a modeling gig all dressed up on my show and shit. Like,
I think the broken leg again, as I said, right?
it was the broken leg. It was a lucky leg.
Yeah.
It's like Nemo's little fin on Finding Nemo.
This leg has brought me to a lot of places. I was shopping.
That's fire.
That's fire.
I was shopping at Abercrombie, and the general manager there, his name was Zaz. Shout out to him. Damn, I haven't
Shout out
talked to him.
Zaz.
I haven't talked to him in so long, but
Still gotta shout him out, you know?
yeah. He was the one who was like, yo, like, have you ever tried modeling? I was like, no. And he
Like
just
straight up out of nowhere, like you were legit just shopping.
I was a kid. I was like
How old were you, like, give or take?
19,
Okay.
18 or 19.
Okay.
So we ended up taking photos, like profile pictures, and then we sent it to Maggie, which is like a
Yeah, Maggie Modeling in Boston.
Yep. And Casey signed me, and from there it was just like
It was really that random. Like this guy from Abercrombie was like, "Hey, let's take some headshots in the back." And like,
and after like 2-3 weeks, we sent it to Maggie, and Casey set up a lot of different shoots for me. One thing led to another. I worked with a lot of like athleisure brands. Like,
okay, I could
worked
see
with
like a
Reebok.
streetwear, like athleisure. Yeah.
I tried to go high fashion at some point, and my body is just not fit for that. Like, I'm a little bit thicker, so clothes fit me a certain way. But yeah, I modeled for PUMA and New Balance, Reebok, Converse.
Hey.
Yeah, so it's
That's fire.
it's been an amazing journey, and I think what modeling has allowed me to really learn is that it's okay to be rejected. You know, like you go to these castings, right?
Yeah.
And you're in a room full of candidates, and you have to accept the fact that that's your direct competition for the gig. And if you don't get the gig, somebody in this room is gonna get it.
Right.
And when you're a model, you feel like you're so special because, oh, I got signed, I'm special. You walk into these rooms and you realize, oh, wow. I'm
I'm not the only special one.
I'm not the only one that's
Yeah.
special. Like everybody here's got their own
Their own
cutting
thing.
edge. And I think that allowed me to grow into a state of mind where like I'm comfortable with being rejected again, and again, because I know that as long as there's a casting, I mean, I was young. As long as there's a casting, I'm going there.
Yeah. Right.
And I only needed like one to get booked for me to get another booked. And I think it's very easy to dwell on being rejected for a role and just not getting the job. Nobody
Yeah.
likes not getting the job, right?
Exactly. But you know, I've said it time and time again, but like all those no's build up to that one yes, and it makes that one yes like better than anything. You know what I mean? Because you've already sat through the rejection. You already know what it feels like to get the no. So when you get the yes, you're like, yo, this is real. I know I fit this well. You know what I mean? So you can be confident about it. But with some like other models that I've had on the show and talked to, we've kind of gone into like labeling, being put in like a box or a certain look or a certain branding, depending on your physical appearance. Did you feel like that was like something that you went through once you got into modeling? Like you were being booked for certain looks or shoots depending on, you know, just your outside appearance?
Definitely. I had super long hair actually.
No way.
Yeah, I had super long hair, like hair to like here.
No, I can't
Yeah.
even picture you with that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to go way back on your Instagram and check that out.
And they told me to cut my hair.
What?
Yep. They told me like, oh, you should cut your hair because you'll get booked more.
Wow.
Literally, they're
So
like,
you got booked with long hair. Like you originally started modeling
I started
with long
modeling
hair?
with long hair. And then they were like, well, if you give short hair a chance, I think we can book you more.
Wow.
And I was like, done.
So interesting. Like
A lot of people would be like, oh, I don't want to cut my hair. It's me. And
yeah.
for me, I was just trying to get booked.
Yeah, right.
I was like, all right,
So it wasn't like an attachment to it where you were
I can
like
always grow it back.
true.
I mean, it's not for everybody. I'm
Yeah.
sure not everybody feels that way.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I was like, well, this is a modeling gig. If I book it, I'm
Yeah.
gonna book it. Like that's the desired outcome.
Right.
I'm gonna do what I need to do or is recommended for me to do to get that outcome.
Yeah.
And it's your choice if you want to listen or not, right?
Right.
I chose to listen. And I booked it and then realized that after you get booked a certain amount of times, just to get your foot in the door, even if you grew your hair out, they already know you after that.
Exactly.
But like, just do it so you can get in the door.
Yeah.
And then after that, you can grow out your hair. I grew out my hair after and they still booked me
Right.
because they
Right.
knew who I was.
Yeah. And I think it's showing that diversity and showing that you can do it with short hair, you could do it long hair, you could do it for a streetwear brand, athleisure, maybe high fashion, who knows? You know what I mean? You can switch it up. I don't think you do have to stay in that box, even, you know, if initially they feel like they're trying to put you in something, you still have, as an artist, the right to step out of that and be whoever and whatever you want. So I think it's just about doing it in the right way. And, you know, you just named a lot of big brands like Converse, Puma. There's a couple others I'm missing. But through those shoots that you did, were there any that really stuck out to you or that you like learned something from, or a shoot that you liked the best out of those that kind of maybe pushed you forward or opened your mind to something?
I mean, for me, I met two of my best friends. I mean, really, really close friends. One at Timberland and one at New Balance.
Yeah.
I met a lot of other creatives that I literally still work with today, both in modeling, photography, or music. But one instance that I really, really am like a big fan of, and I constantly look back into, and be like, oh, to live this moment again, and I guess to just do that shoot again. I would love to do that. It was with New Balance, and I was basically butt ass naked.
What?
Yo,
Is this on your IG?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Damn, I
it's
must
on
have
New
missed
Balance.
it. Oh,
It's
y'all
on
are
New.
gonna have to go check this out. I'm gonna have to check it out. Okay, keep going.
But that one was like the epitome of, dude, it doesn't matter. You just gotta be comfortable with yourself.
yeah.
I was literally like, the only thing I had on was this little tiny,
Like a drawstring type thing.
and I had a robe just for me to hang out in, like right before I hop on set.
Oh, snap.
There's a lot of people in the room.
Yeah.
It was cold, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in the room, and there's like Olympians from different countries because it was a Olympic shoot almost.
Oh, wow.
For like a
okay.
new shoe they were about to release. And you have all these people from different sports, right?
Yeah.
All of them were in way better shape than me. Like they were freaks, you know, like just really, really
like
built,
ripped.
ripped. And I was like, all right, so
You're like, I'm fit, but I'm still a little bit like.
I still got regular human
Yeah,
being
right.
stuff. I'm not an Olympian. And I think that was the part in me where like, well, I just have to be comfortable with myself.
Right.
There's no problem here.
Yeah.
But the ones that you start to think of and you tell yourself like, oh, you know, no.
Facts.
That's fire.
And I think being put in the light and being so vulnerable, you really have to be comfortable with yourself. And I think at that moment, I was so comfortable being myself that I was able to own the role, you know? And I was basically like, I was really surprised with how everybody was acting, I guess, on set, because it's just like, everyone acknowledges that it's a very awkward role.
Right.
And
Are you telling me like you had nothing but sneakers? Was it like
I
a
had
like
nothing
naked
but sneakers.
with sneakers on
You guys
shoot?
have to put like a photo of this.
Yo, we're
on the
going
thing.
to. You're gonna send us one. We're gonna
Yeah,
put right
I'll
here.
send you the video. It was me in sneakers, and in the video you can't see what I was wearing. You know
Yeah.
I was naked and
Yeah.
I was running.
So how?
I was
Like
running.
how? How was the shot? Like, was it just showing from here up, or was it
Yeah,
like?
it was just showing like from up
Okay.
and
all
then
right.
down.
Oh, wow. But
Yeah.
you was legit like.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was like 4 years ago. And in that shoot, I met Zama.
Okay. Yeah. Shout out Zama.
Yep. Zama was one of the
That's
people
fire.
on that shoot, and we ended up making music, and we've produced like probably 20 songs together in the past 3 years. We're really excited to share some of them in the near future. Like she's like, oh, we
Yes.
gotta drop some of these. A lot of Afro house, Afro beats.
Ooh, I love Afro beats. Don't fuck with me.
Yeah. And you know, me and
That's
Z
dope.
were like, it's about time we drop this stuff. So really, really excited about that. And yeah, that was definitely one shoot that stuck with me most.
That's amazing. And it's crazy because at the time, like, you don't know when you're going to those shoots and you're in that room full of competition that some of that competition could actually become your friends and even your partners in the future, which is like, if you don't step out and take that chance and take that risk and make yourself uncomfortable,
Yeah.
you'll never know, you know? And that's one of the best parts about being an artist, but specifically modeling.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I literally wouldn't be here if I didn't meet Aisha at Timberland.
Facts.
Shout outs to Aisha.
Yeah,
you know?
shout out Sadberries.
That's fire.
Super crazy because like at that shoot, like I wouldn't have known that I would have met her and then I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, right.
It all like over the span of like 4 or 5 years, it's literally come to this.
And it's crazy because at the time, like you're saying, like, you don't know when you meet that person what it's gonna lead to in the future. You have to have that like blind trust of like knowing like somehow, some way, this is part of my destiny. It's part of my journey. It's part of the reason that I came from the Philippines to go to school here, to go do this, to do that, to meet her, to go to that shoot, to come here, to be on Old Soul Young World, and then everything in the
Insane.
future. Like, it's insane. And then like, y'all don't even know, but before this, like, we had fucking Jay Connoisseur on the show, and Jay and Johnny got to talk, and they got to network, and it's like, that's the most beautiful part, like, how things work out and how they play out when you don't even plan them to be like that. And sometimes you just have to trust the process. I think it's the most important thing. And when you look back and you see how the pieces fall and they like lay into each other, that makes everything come together. You're like, wow, that was like divine intervention almost, you know? And I just want to actually highlight one thing that you said when you talked about the modeling shoot that you did, that a lot of the battle that you had there was up here. It was
Yeah.
all mental, because sometimes the biggest enemy that we have is ourselves, is our mind, are the negative thoughts or the self-doubt. And once you overcome that thought, that energy, you can really do anything and you can become unstoppable. And it's like that, like, I was talking about this with someone the other day, but like that degree of separation where it's like you're not afraid to go reach out to somebody way bigger than you. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yes.
you've gotten the mindset where like, I can do that shit. Like I things do happen. Like I don't know, just don't psych yourself out. If you're listening in, don't psych yourself out. Like, you can really do anything. You can really lay the blueprint and lay everything to become what you want to be, if you manifest that and be consistent and take risk and take chances. Like, yo, if you want to do modeling, do modeling. Like, if you want to play a piano, pick up a piano, start playing those keys. Like, but it takes time, you know?
I also think like understanding your priorities is like something that I see a lot of people struggle with, including myself, you know?
That's fire.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yo, understanding your priorities. It's really like the biggest thing stopping
Such
a lot
key.
of people. And even like me, I still find myself like in need of prioritizing us, you know, things accordingly. But for people who are just getting started, like I have a lot of friends that are like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then I see them spend money on XYZ. And I'm like, wait, you just spent money on XYZ before you started spending money
Invested
on...
in ABC? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that's really where, like, I don't know who's the right person to call people out on that stuff, but you need to really spend every single moment to that goal. Because I think that's why, again, I keep thinking my knee being broken because I had no choice.
Yeah.
I had no choice but to spend every single moment on that computer beside the keys.
Yep.
Because no one was coming to hang out with me. I can't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't want to leave the house because it was painful.
Right.
The only thing I could have done, I was stuck in front of a computer and everything had to come to me. And I think that was really when I realized like, wow, this is like the best way for me to spend my time.
Yeah. And it's just, it's really admirable. And I just want to shout you out because other people that could have been in the same situation as you, coming here and playing basketball and wanting to do that and having this like mindset, this goal in their mind, and then injuring their knee. Some people could have been like down and out, got depressed, given up on themselves, been like, oh, I have no purpose here. This, you know what I mean? All my chances are ruined at what I was supposed to do. But that is where we go back to mindset. And that's where you go back to your mind, your mental is more powerful than your physical, because the same situation that you and somebody else have, the same thing can be a completely different outcome just because of how you take it mentally and what you apply to it afterwards. So again, I just want to shout you out for that. And, you know, within your realm of the many other 100 things that you do, Haiki, I just had to make this joke too. You know when people say like, yo, that's like a low key, like keep that low key. Like, nah, yo, you high key though. Like everything you do be high key. So you're a fantastic visual artist as well. Not only graphic design, NFT wise, but like physically with paintbrushes, with pencils, with all different types of media. Can you just let the people know a little bit of when did that come about? Was this like in the mix of your DJing or?
No, yeah. So basically what happened was COVID happened, right?
Yeah.
And I was still in school. I was at Icon Collective and then the pandemic happened. And I was like, well, if the pandemic is going to be really, really bad, then there's definitely no live shows. There's no point of me figuring out like audio experience, whatever. Right. So I was like, you know what? I got to just switch it up real quick. And I picked up a paintbrush, called my granduncle, who's actually a pretty well-known artist in New York. It's like, hey, granduncle, like, what should I get? I want to paint.
Are you going to shout out your granduncle or what?
I will.
Name drop him.
His name is Mojian Tseng.
Ooh.
He specializes in painting horses.
Wow.
Like horses from, I guess like, he said his biggest inspiration is like the Mongolian horses.
Okay.
Like they're very, very, they're
like
old.
majestic.
Yeah, they're really big horses with like hooves and I don't know. I need to drop a photo of the horses.
We'll drop them right here.
It's not like your regular like stallions. They have like hooves with fur on them.
Yeah.
And jewelry on them. Mm-hmm. That's what he did. And he told me to pick up black and white paint. Like that's the first one I picked up. And then I picked up red because
acrylic, watercolor.
Acrylic.
Okay.
I still use acrylic. I'm not a big fan of oil just because
I've never got into oil. I'm a painter as well. I never got into oil. Yeah. And like how you have to use I forget what it's called.
Turpentine.
Yeah, no. I don't fuck with the turpentine.
I'm good, dude.
Yeah. When my art teacher back in the day showed me it, I was like, I think I'll stick with watercolor and acrylic. I'm good with that.
I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I talked to him and I started painting this. It's an Asian gargoyle called foo dogs.
Yes.
You see them in front of like temples. You see them in front of Chinatown.
Yep.
They're like protectors of space.
Yes.
And so that's a moniker that I've had with myself. Like I've been using that for like 5-6 years. They represent peace, prosperity, and security. They protect space. And I was like, oh, I really want to paint something for my mom. It was Mother's Day, the first Mother's Day during pandemic, and I couldn't go home to see my mom. So I painted her a red foo. From there, that project just turned into something else. Right now, I'm working on multiple different foos and just painting a lot of Asian-inspired creatures. Yeah. And one thing led to another, but I've spent most of my COVID time painting. And then as we got out of COVID, the NFT scene kind of boomed. And I was like, whoa, I could make this a whole NFT project. And so I've been working on my NFT project for almost like a year now. And my biggest drop is coming up in September.
Ooh.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry, is the name of your brand or whatever you're creating, it's We Are The Foos?
Yeah, it's called We Are The Foos.
I love that, like We Are The Fools, but Foos.
But We Are The Foos.
That's good wordplay.
I know, my roommate Dom actually was the one who coined that term. I was like, yo, they're called foo dogs, but I don't want to,
Well, I was thinking about the Foo Fighters, like what if you did the Foos Fighters, like
I know,
the fighter of the Foos.
That was like one of the top names, and we're like, that's already too big.
It is a little like,
Yeah, so Dom, my roommate, he's a graphic designer and He makes clothes. He's a
Dope.
fashion designer.
Awesome.
He was the one who coined the term We Are The Foos.
Okay.
And from that, I was like, well, I want to talk about my transition into US and like my journey so far. And so we're creating an entire comic book based off of Asian mythology, and people who hold my NFT can help me write the story.
What?
Yeah, so I have a whole Discord and you can come join.
What? I'm sorry. Okay, so like for people who are like very slow, aka me, to the NFT world, who have not got indulged in that yet, and I'm still trying to understand it because there's a lot of things going on, like NFTs, cryptocurrency, like a lot of things that get put together and they're all separate actually, and they have a lot of different like platforms that are in it. So like a Discord, like I don't know what a Discord is. Like the NFT, I understand an NFT, but the fact that you could make it interactive so that people could add to your story, like, could you go into that a little bit?
Well, for the most part, like the biggest difference between Web 2 and Web 3 is Web 3, you're removing the, okay, so in Web 2, you'd have to pay somebody to market your project. You pay a marketing agency, or you
Like
know,
a distributor?
you spend money on like ads, basically. In Web 3, you're directly talking to your fans, and it's like a two-way street. Web 2 was more like, if you're an artist, this is what I do, you follow me.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That was a relationship. It's like fandom.
Okay, gotcha.
Web 3, it's a community. It's something that I'm working on too, because like I'm new into the Web 3 space.
Like when you say Web 3, like I don't even understand that
just a
lingo.
term.
Like that's a whole different language for me.
It's just a term. For me, if you say Web 3, it's more of building a community and understanding that whatever you do shouldn't just be like, it's not about fandom anymore. It used to be cool, like saying, oh, I'm this, you can follow everything I do. Web 3, it's more like, I'm this, and I want you to tell me what this could become.
Okay, like to add to.
Yeah, it's like a
add to
two-way
it.
street.
Yep.
And for once...
So like 2D to 3D, could I compare it to that? No. Like in my mind as a visual,
No.
could I? All right. Well, I am. That's still how I'm going to think about it
it's
because I'll
fine.
remember it that way.
I think for you, it's like as a podcast, I guess a Web 2 mindset would be like, oh, this is my podcast, come listen.
Yeah.
A Web 3 mindset would be, this is my podcast, come be a part of it.
Okay, got you.
And
that
I
was a
feel
great
like,
way to describe it.
and I feel like a lot of the art created like before is just like, okay, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I'm doing. Web 3 is more like, this is what I want to do, and I would love for you guys to join me in this journey. What can we do together? And so that's how I transitioned it into my project, which it used to just be like all about the art. Okay, here's the art, and you can purchase it as an NFT.
Yeah.
But we made it in a way where you can purchase the art, and by owning the art, you have proof that you have a voting power on what happens in our lore.
Okay. Could I compare? I'm going to keep trying to compare
Yeah,
to
keep
things
going.
for
Yeah,
myself and for the audience. If I was buying stock, like I would have a little bit of stock invested like
Yeah.
that. Like, could I think about it like that? I had a piece of the NFT, like a little bit of stock, or no?
I'm not gonna lie, that's how I saw it first,
Okay.
because I had no idea how to grasp the
I'm
idea.
trying to bridge my gap of understanding this new universe.
But I wouldn't say that's a good way, or it's not the best way
Okay.
to think about it. But I don't blame you if that's like,
Yeah.
that's how you're thinking about it now, because I definitely thought about it like that at one point. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, so it's just like a pre-issued stock.
Because it's intangible. Like you can't touch it. You can't see it. It's just like this whole new thing. So it's hard to grasp,
Yeah.
the pieces that go into it. But
But I think at the end of the day, anything can be an NFT. The NFT is just a smart contract for creators to use to have more control and understand that they have a direct connection to their clients or customers or fans. It's the fastest way to understand what your fan base really wants you to do or is excited to see from you.
yeah.
And me personally, as an artist, I spend a lot of time making the art myself. I spend a lot of time making the music myself. I'm having a hard time communicating with the community that's being built right now. That's something I need to work on.
Right.
Is community building. That's not something that I would say I even saw myself needing to work on.
Right.
up until like recently. Before it was like, oh, I do music, and then you hop on TikTok. You have to make content for your music.
Right.
Now you not only need to make the music, you have to make the content for your music and then upload.
Exactly.
Now it's a whole nother step. Now you
Yeah.
have to make the music.
Yep.
Now I have to make the content.
You're the producer, the distributor, the manager, the everything.
And the customer service.
Yes, everything.
And I never saw it that way, but in order for an NFT project to be successful, I think that's the one last step that I personally am working on myself, is focusing on community building. How can you have a genuine connection with that many people who are passionate about your project? And for me, it was being able to allow people to have a say on what happens in the story.
Right.
With We Are The Foos. And
Right.
my motto from like way, way, way back, like I was in college, my Instagram bio literally always said, keep pushing. Like
Love
it's really is easy to like just give up whenever you want, but sometimes it's harder to quit. It's harder to quit.
Fire.
That's 100% facts. It's so much harder to give up doing that than sometimes to keep going, or to, you know what I'm saying? Because when you at least continue your craft, you know you're building towards something, but when you give it up, then you feel almost defeated. You're like, I have this purpose. I have something I'm supposed to give, something I'm supposed to do. And I just let it go. So it's like 100% right, 100% facts. And I'm just, for myself wondering, anyone else who's listening in who's interested in the NFT game, like for We Are The Foos, where is your storyline right now? Like, where is your foo going, or where has it started? Is it on its journey to America? Like, what is the storyline?
I'd love to, I guess where the story is at right now is the main character, he works at a boba shop. And
is the main character a foo, like an actual little dragon?
No.
Okay.
The foo is almost like there's a lot of them.
Okay.
There's a lot of them in the world, and they're protecting humans.
Oh.
And the story basically is, I guess the overarching theme is more like humans have been around for so long, and foos have been around for even longer, and foos are protectors of humans. But with humans making like erratical decisions, being irresponsible, foos are almost like, whoa, we
It's
still
like
have to take care of them.
Yeah.
Like foos are almost like struggling to keep up with taking care of humans and watching our backs. So the story is like, basically the foos are like, again, we have to take care of this guy. They're like your guardian angels.
In the story, are the foos like, can the humans visually see them? Oh, so they're like interliving, like living with each other.
Yes.
Okay.
They come
That's
out
dope.
of a red gate. Yeah, I mean, people have to read the story, but
yeah. We won't give too much away, but
long story short, the main character is now working at a boba shop in Boston, in Chinatown.
what's the name of the main character?
Or
is there no? Okay.
There's no name yet.
You gotta tune in to find out.
Yeah, you guys gotta tune in to find out. But definitely the story is about, it's really personal, because for me, being Asian and transitioning into American culture, I've had lots of friends from all different races like help me be comfortable with who I am,
Right.
All of my friends come from multiple cultures. And in college we had this group called 630, and it was literally like Asian, Black, Hispanic, white, everything across the board. And we would teach each other different languages. Like I would teach my friend Silmar how to speak in Mandarin, and he would teach me how to speak Portuguese whenever I had the chance.
Wow.
So now I know, I go to Framingham or I go to Holliston, I say "Tudo bem?" It's like, how are you doing? And
That's fire.
and you'll see some of that in my story. You'll see some of that in the We Are The Foos comics. And at the end of the day, for me, the Foos is my guardian angel. It's something that I've been obsessed with for like so many years. And the Foos live in the world of Torsades, which is now connected to my music. And so you'll see this logo, the name, the sounds. I do hope this project becomes like a motion picture at some point with the comic, the story, the graphics, and our music, Torsades.
Well, I didn't even get into that, but you're also making a comic book out of it as well at the same time?
Yeah, the We Are The Foos project is primarily a comic book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Through NFTs? Like through a Discord?
By holding the NFT, you're able to contribute to what happens in the comic book.
Got you.
So
is it a digital comic book?
Yeah, but I do plan to print it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yo,
That's fire.
trying to grasp my mind around the concept of you like forming this idea in your head and making it come to reality is amazing. But even more so, I have to shout you out because you went to the NFT New York City Convention recently. And I saw in one of the pictures you had like a physical printed foo. I don't know if it was a 3D printed one. I don't know if it was just a statue you brought with you.
That was actually NFT LA, but
oh, sorry, my bad.
yeah. But I mean, I was just at NFT NYC last week. But NFT LA, that was my family comes from a business of toys, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my dad is the distributor of Hasbro in the Philippines.
Wow,
So
that's huge.
Yeah, our family is like.
So you're well
toy
known
background.
over there, kind of.
No.
Are you like high prestige? Like
No,
I'll go to the Philippines
no.
again. Oh, okay.
No.
No? All right.
No, I'm just playing. But my dad, he's probably the biggest toy collector nobody knows.
Wow.
He still uses his Yahoo Mail for business, so that's how you know.
I just had to take my mom's Yahoo Mail away. I was like, no more of this. We're making you a Gmail, lady.
Well, he has a Yahoo Mail, and he was
for
like,
him.
well, basically holders will have access to buy the statue.
Okay.
And that's kind of like the utility behind my NFT is I'll have random giveaways of my one-on-one pieces, random giveaways of merchandise. But the NFT is like a gate, like a token gate for you to enter like this website that we have.
Okay.
You can't really access the store without the NFT. Does that make sense?
It does, but I didn't understand that when we first started talking that you had to buy a piece of the NFT to
access my
cross over
website.
to access the website.
So you can't basically by having the We're the Foos NFT, you're able to enter the website and all the entertainment, all the merchandise, everything that comes with it, you're able to access. And if you don't have the NFT, you have no access to it. I'm working every day to understand like what the community wants to see out of the project on top of what I want it to become.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's the difference between Web 2 and Web 3 is like Web 2, you honestly didn't need to care about what other people wanted you to do. You just do what you believe in and everybody would just support or don't.
Yeah.
In Web 3, it's like people want to get involved. People are looking for something to be part of. And I think that's how I felt when I joined the Bored Ape community.
And
like,
what's that?
Bored Ape is probably one of the biggest NFTs out there. It's that ape thing, the monkey-looking NFT. And if you hold that NFT, they recently had Ape Fest, which is, I would compare it to basically like a Coachella, if you will. It's not really, but
got you.
it's a big concert.
Yeah.
And like Future was there last weekend. Snoop Dogg was there last weekend. Tiesto, Steve Aoki. And if you hold the NFT, you could have gone to this concert for free.
So it's like a ticket for you almost, a free ticket.
It's a
like
pass.
Free entrance.
It's basically like, what you're just discussing where like, if you hold a foo, you get to enter the website and everything that the website has to offer.
Right.
Same thing with what they did, only at a way bigger scale because they were first.
Okay, got you. And you're literally educating me while we're having the podcast right now. You have my mind like going 100 miles a minute. Is there, how do you learn how or know how to price or range your pricing when you're selling an NFT or having somebody come into your community? Like, where does that price range come from? Is that just like you can literally slap on $100 million price ticket? Like, where is that marketing coming from? I don't understand.
I guess if I can go into detailed like examples, Yes,
please.
Of what other projects have done. I guess there's two ways. There's multiple ways, but I'm going to just talk about two ways.
Sure.
One is basically the project sells a number of NFTs and tells you what they plan to do with the money. Like when you buy the NFT, the funds basically go to a community fund to make a certain thing happen, which is called a roadmap. So like NFTs will tell the community, oh, this is the roadmap, this is what we want to happen, and that's what we're going to use the money on.
Yeah.
So that's one way to price your NFTs, because for example, if like you want to create like a video game, you need a lot of money for that. So you can price your NFTs like way higher than other people, because people are under the understanding that you're going to create a video game.
Do you think it's on a basis of your fan base though? Like if you have, let's say, 100,000 people following your storyline and paying into the Discord and like getting into your community and all of that, would you be able to up your prices on your NFTs? Am I even wording that correctly?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Like, yeah, you can definitely, it's just like demand. If you have that much demand, like you can definitely sell it for more.
Okay.
And then with the amount that you get for more, you can make more things happen for the community.
Okay, I got you.
You know, it's like Bored Apes, like they sold it for like really cheap. It was like $200 at that time.
Right.
And with the money that's been coming in from royalties, they produced like a whole concert for everybody.
It's amazing.
And it's free for people who hold it, because they've bought into the brand early.
Right.
So another way is there's something called like people are doing free mints right now, where like the NFT is free almost.
Gotcha.
You just need to pay for gas. And there's a few projects out there that have gotten traction from free mints, because they basically sell the NFT for free, and people who want the NFT get they have to pay for the transaction fee. That's all they need to pay for. And then they make money off of the secondary sales, and then use the money that they make from the secondary sales to fuel the roadmap. But it's always a promise.
Okay.
It's if I were to put it in another term, it's kind of like if I were to explain another way, basically is, let's say Nike wants to come out with a new shoe.
Yeah.
And they come out with the NFT that tells you, if you buy this NFT, it will allow us to develop this new shoe.
Wow. Okay.
And the money that we get from selling the NFT, we basically use to make the shoe happen. And once the shoe is made, you get to redeem it. It's like
you'll be one of the first people who gets an option.
Yeah, it's like a Kickstarter almost.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Kickstarter?
Yeah, of course I am. Yeah.
It's like a
That makes
Kickstarter.
sense. That's a really good like correlation between the two. I feel like Kickstarter and
Only the difference now is if you hold the NFT, the creator of the NFT can grant the NFT like rewards and utilities and like access.
Yeah.
Oh, if you hold the NFT, you can go to XYZ. You can go to have this, that, or like help with whatever you need. 24-hour line to help or something.
It's just crazy because like when you talk about NFTs, like I said, I'm a very basic, like baseline of NFT knowledge. When I first started hearing about it and learning about it, like all I saw was like the rainbow cat with the donut. Like, you know what I'm talking about. I don't even need to say more. Everybody listening knows what I'm talking about. It's the fucking rainbow cat with the donut. And it was like selling for like hundreds of thousands. And I just like couldn't conceptualize in my mind why that little cat was selling for that much money.
Yo, they're selling like, there's this project called Doodles. And I guess it's the same as Apes, but like they're selling for like a lot of money. But that money that the creators get from those resells, they get a percentage of that. And the percentage that they get from that money, that resell, is basically what they use to fund everything that they want to make happen. So it's all about...
So it's like constant income in a way to fund projects?
Correct.
Okay.
But like, as the creator of the project, you also have the responsibility to make it happen.
Right, exactly.
Which is where a lot of people...
Because you could get the income coming back to you, and then you could go buy a pair of sneakers or whatever your heart desires. But
the term is called getting rugged, where like creators of the project just say they're going to do this, they take all your money, and then they just never heard from them again.
Oh, is that like an NFT term? Getting rugged?
Yeah, getting rugged. It's
like
rugged.
Pull the rug out from under you, legit. Like, wow.
I mean, that's like the dangers of this space is like there are a lot of bad actors saying that they're going to do something and they take your money and they're gone.
Right. Exactly.
That's definitely happened, and there's multiple cases, and it's really about getting to know the creators. Like,
right.
People who create the project.
Yeah.
Like if they really care about the project, they're going to make it happen, and they're going to show you what they want to happen, and they want you to be a part of it.
Like they'll almost like lay out the roadmap for you.
Correct.
So you know what you're investing in kind of.
And they host like Twitter spaces where you can ask them anything.
Oh, like Q&A type shit?
Yeah, so
Oh,
like
that's
if you know
fire.
you want to make something happen and you have a community that's willing to fund you, why wouldn't you be open to answering all the questions they have for you if you
Right.
know you want to make it happen?
Right.
It's people who don't want to make it happen that are probably scared to answer your questions.
Exactly. Because they don't know how to answer them.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, like if somebody asked me, like, what do you want to do with XYZ? For me, it was always the comic book. Like the comic
Yeah.
book needs to be printed. And if more money comes in, I want to create
film.
merchandise, the film,
Yeah.
events, galleries. And I'm actually well on my way to making those happen. I have 3 galleries here in Boston.
Do?
In the next 2 months.
Haiki?
We
Stop
have
being so humble.
we
Shout
have-
that shit out.
we have a gallery in Bentley in October.
Okay.
That's fire.
One in Lowell at 6 Studios, and one on Tremont Street that I'm still locking down. But
Okay.
That's fire.
I want to share my art there. I want to be able to have our Foos merch there. I think one thing that I'm actually going to be working on this week is the poster, the Foos poster. It's like a keep pushing poster.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just art, graphic design,
And so at these places, the 3 that you just named, like merch and all that, is it like Foos statues? Is it your paintings?
My paintings.
Okay, so your
Yeah.
paintings of the Foos.
yeah. And
Okay.
I'll have some of the comic book there to tease people, like the story, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an experience. It's like a pop up, if you will.
I literally, when you were just saying that, I hope I manifest this for you through words, but like I just pictured you in this huge museum with these giant statues of Foos, and you just walking around like all different colors in marble, like marble, like dope ass Foos,
know, dude.
like huge, like
my goal is to
I see it, yo.
we actually, you know how like the traditional foods look like, which you see right now. It's very traditional, and I was like, oh, I want to modernize it.
Yeah.
Which we did.
Is it culturally inappropriate for me to compare it to anyone who doesn't know what a foo is to like the little dragon in Mulan? Because like that's the only thing I can think in like a good American movie that I can like maybe compare it to for people. Do you have a better one?
I don't feel any. I guess they have the same role. They do the same thing.
Okay,
you
you
know,
like
he's
that
there.
spiritual, like you know what I mean? He was
Yeah.
like her overseer, like it was that type of like energy.
I mean, I love that character, to be honest.
You know?
Mushu.
Yeah, Mushu.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's like I really wanted to modernize this traditional look to the Foos, and we have created our own 3D version of it. And I look forward to creating like massive statues in our version, which is something we've developed over time. I think it's more modern. I think it's way cooler. One of my goals is to replace Chinatown Foos with my Foos.
Hey, you heard it here
That's
first.
fire.
Yo, I know that shit's gonna happen one day.
Yeah, I mean,
see
I
it.
hope so. I want to start here in Boston first.
Yes, you got to. And just real quick, I know you said that for the NFTs, like if somebody purchased it, they could sometimes get like merch or like one of the little statues. Is that like with every purchase, or is that like a future goal? Because the one that you brought to the not NYC, the LA convention, that little statue you had.
That's a prototype of what I want to provide my community with.
Okay, awesome.
It's like a table weight.
It was so cool. Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
loved it. What was it? Was it made out of jade?
No, I wish. That's
It looked like the color. So I
polymer
was-
resin. It's
Okay.
3D printed.
Really?
Yeah, and I just want to put it in like a mold,
Yeah.
and then I'll probably drop like resin in it. But that's just like an idea. I also want to make stuffed toys and like make baby foos, and there's a whole thing.
You should have your mom send over like sand from the Philippines and like sprinkle a little bit of like Philippine sand in there.
Philippine
Bring
sand
some
is dope.
culture. Like,
And it's super dope.
yo,
pink
that,
sand.
that shit would go for a lot. Pink
sand, yeah.
I
There's
see.
pink
I didn't
sand.
even know about that, but like up the price on that NFT. And so like through the modeling, the painting, the art, everything, and mind you, like we haven't even really fully got into Haiki's painting, but like the sketches you do with pencil, everything, like the double-handed, I don't even know how you sketch with both hands because that's using both sides of your brain.
Yo, so like actually, like I feel like
I was
when
like,
people
what
see
is
me,
this?
when people see me with 2 pencils, it's very like, I would say the right hand does all the detail, but the left hand is actually for my eyes to kind of see how dark it is, because like every pencil has shades to it.
Right.
and it's almost like an anchor. So like if I hold this pencil, okay, I know I use this shade of gray on this specific part, so I should go darker here.
Wow.
It's like an anchor. So
But
I'm
have
not
you
like
always
really
been
sketching.
ambidextrous with painting and drawing?
It comes from playing the piano, I guess.
Wow. So all of your art forms really kind of do roll into one another, because you can even translate like the painting and the drawings of the foos into your concept of the NFT. So they all literally like
It's
roll in.
I think tying everything I do is something that like together
Yeah.
is something that I'm really still like spending most of my time on, because
Yeah.
I do way too many things. And you know, sometimes I feel like I'm a jack of all trades and master of none. And I've heard that whole saying before. And I'm really just,
Facts.
I'm spending most of my time these days to reflect on how I can bring everything together. Otherwise, it's just going to fall apart. And luckily, I have like teammates, you know, I can't do this alone.
I know you said you had like a 7-person team going right now. Like,
Yeah, my
that's
cousin's in it.
amazing.
One of my close friends, Fred, is actually a co-founder of the We Are The Foos project. Lots of people have been in and out of helping me with this project, regardless of how much help I got from whoever. Like, it's still really important to acknowledge that I didn't do this alone.
Yes.
You know, I may be on the driver's seat for the most part, but I didn't do this alone. I definitely needed help. There's no such thing as I did it all myself, because I didn't do it all myself. There are people who I might not even know helped me along the way, like, you know?
Right.
And I think as an artist, I just want to let everybody know that I appreciate everybody that's been part of this journey. I want to thank my mom and my dad for, dude, they're like my biggest supporters. Biggest supporters.
That's fire.
No matter how crazy my ideas are, and I can see it in their face when I tell them what I want to do. They're like, you know, like,
That's like me when you start talking about the NFTs, just
they're
trying to
like-
understand it.
I know for a fact when I tell them like some of my crazy ideas, their faces are
Very
like
out there to them.
Oh wow! And I know the moment I drop that call, it's like,
Yep.
what is he trying to do now?
Right.
And I really appreciate that my mom and dad really understand like what I'm trying to do here is, I think it's very different.
It is.
I think it has a lot to do with my journey as a person from Asia to America, and I want to put more light on how my multicultural friendships and my core group of friends, like we're literally multicultural. I think it's amazing to understand and have open conversations about a lot of the social problems that each culture is having.
Yes.
And the more we can discuss that, the more we can talk about it, the more we can learn to understand each other and not have our own preconceived ideas of what everyone's background is, you know? And
100%.
That's fire.
yeah, I talk with Rashid and Dom a lot, my roommates. Dom, he's a designer, and Rashid, he works on his interior design company. And he works on mid-century design.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
mid-century
so
design.
unique.
Yeah, it's so dope. His website's designtheory.shop, and then Dom, his website is unambiguous, which I resonate with so well because it's just like as a group of friends, I wish like there was a photo of us as a friend, as a squad.
Yeah.
It's literally every single like part of the world, and
Yeah,
it's
that's
beautiful.
amazing.
And I want people to like, I don't know, not look at us as an example, but like see us as proof that the world can be more tight knit,
Yeah.
could
More
come
unified.
together
Exactly.
and enjoy the things that everybody can be enjoying. It's just what's stopping you from enjoying and diving into another person's culture is really yourself.
Right. And it's really just based on fear, because we're just afraid to learn about something other than what we've been taught, or what we've been raised in, or our traditions. You know what I mean? But when we can, actually learn how to come together and diversify our groups, that creates like an open space for other artists to want to do the same. And then we're building a culture of diversity. And moving forward, we can open more doors for for each other. You know what I mean? Like, I've had conversations like this with my friends. No matter where you stand, what privilege you have of your race or culture, whatever it is, make sure you use it to uprise the people around you. Make sure y'all can come together to take your art forms. And if you have somebody who does design and you have someone who's an event planner and you have someone who does this, why can't you guys come together and build a culture that embraces that and showcases it? You know what I mean? And in Boston, that's what we need. So like you coming over and bringing your ideas of the food, of We Are The Foos, of bringing the Philippines to Chinatown, of replacing, those fake ass foos with some real ass foos.
I mean, they're real, but
real ass foos.
I want real ones,
that's what we want. And that's what we need. We need that culture here. So again, Haiki, like just thank you for expressing that, for opening up, because that's what we need to incorporate more in today's day and age. Like we're in 2022, but in some ways we're still backtracking. You know what I mean? And it takes that pushing forward to keep pushing so that we can get to the point where we're not backtracking no more. We're only going forward as a culture and procreating as unified humans, because at the end of the day, no matter where you come from or where we connect culturally, we're all humans. You know what I mean? We all bleed, we all breathe, we all die. So it's just fire to have this conversation with you. And like honestly, genuinely, you opened my mind today to where the future is going of NFTs, where cyberspace is going, where art's going, where fashion's going, and how we can actually use that to educate each other. You know what I mean? Like, after the show, guys, we gonna chop it up and we gonna get in some NFT games. So, stay tuned. But, before we get out of here, Johnny, I just want to ask you one question that I ask all my guests I have on the show. What does it mean to you as, Haiki, from where you've come from, through your culture, through your art, through your losses, your wins, your successes? What does it mean to be an old soul in a young world, or an old soul at all to you?
I think there are multiple times where I actually feel like an old soul, but to your question, I think understanding that at the end of the day, you need to be comfortable with yourself and you need to be confident on what you can do and really find your passion for something that you're okay with doing for the rest of your life. It's like, if you ask me, am I passionate about what I do these days? Yes, because there is no end to my project. It's like, where do you see your project going? Honestly, I have no idea. You tell me. Somebody tell me where you guys see my project going to.
Right.
I know where it can go.
You're like, I'll take it there though.
Yeah. And I think that's literally what the mindset is with Web3 is if you guys just told me this is what I'm doing and you guys tell me what you can see aside from what I can see, it's that's where I'll go.
Yeah.
But it takes a village. It takes a whole team. Like I said, again, super thankful for everybody that's been part of this journey. For those who are still here, who's been here and will be here, open doors to everybody and open conversations like this, I really do enjoy.
And it's the only way. The only way that all of us can move forward and really learn and become better. You know what I mean? By educating and learning about what's behind the art, because somebody could see your final product, they could see the foos, they could see your modeling and all that, but they might not know the story and the time, the effort, the struggle, and the pushing forward that went behind that to even get you to where you are today. And you're still like, I don't have an end goal, I'm still building that goal, I'm building that blueprint or the roadmap, as you may say. And that's the best part, maybe not knowing the end journey, but just enjoying the process of the journey.
And it's also important to seek help from people who have been here before us.
Facts.
Me being in New York, listening to Verbal from Ambush Speak, listen to Jeff Staples from, I guess, Staple Speak.
Yeah.
And Jeff from Cole, Iconic. Do you know the brand Iconic?
I'm not familiar.
They make motivational posters. You know them. But anyways.
I definitely know that, yeah.
Those three people, listening to them speak and having personal conversations with them, it changed my outlook on things, because these people are OGs in the game and they're still trying to have a bigger picture of their already big picture,
Yeah, exactly.
And at the end of the day, what I say all the time is whatever it is, I'm going to keep pushing. because it hurts more to quit.
100%.
That's fire.
And you know, what I see in that, what I hear in that, in everything that you're doing is that you really are building a legacy for yourself, for your family, for your culture here in Boston. And that is going to continue even after you're on to your next project and you're doing whatever comes forward in your community. I know that this is going to go a long way. I really do see it. I really do feel it. And if anybody wants to check it out, if they want to tune in with you, get involved in, you know, your discourse and We Are The Foos, in anything that you've been doing, can you let them know where they can find you on social medias?
Yeah, just my social media on everything is Johnny Haiki, and it's JOHNNY HAIKI. And for all the We Are The Foos stuff, you can follow at We Are The Foos, WEARETHEFOOS.
Nice.
We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. The most important thing is to definitely join us on Discord, and we'll catch you there.
Awesome. And, you know, guys, on that note, you know, through Haiki's journey, expressing his culture and what he's built here and what he's still building here in the Boston area, in beyond, in LA, in New York, in the NFT game, in the art game, the modeling game, like the list can go on, the DJing, this dude does it all. You want to tune in, you want to catch it, because Haiki is an example of somebody who takes different arts, utilizes them, and creates a new art form to then create a new art form to then create a new art form. And that's where the future is going, guys. The metaverse, NFTs, everything. We're trying to get more knowledgeable so that us as old souls, young souls, or any damn souls in between can also be on that same wave. So make sure, if you haven't, that you tune in and tap in with Haiki on all social medias so you guys can get on that game as well. Make sure you join so you can see where his dragons are going to go in the where his foos are going to go in the future. And make sure, guys, that you come back here next week with an open mind so that we can learn more from our next guest on the show. And tune in with me again, Jessie Ellie, next week on Old Soul in a Young World.